Hi guys and welcome back to the channel. Today I've got two replays in two tanks that are fairly similar. They are both the Chinese Tier 8 Preferential heavy tanks, WZ-111 and the 112. Now these are two tanks that have got pref. They're like I say, they are similar, but they trade weaknesses and strengths. So, right here we've got the WZ-111, and this one is basically, I'd say it's the better one of the two for me personally, but that's my personal choice. Obviously the WZ-112, well, it's not WZ-112, it is just the 112, has good armour. This on the other hand doesn't have the best of armour, but what it doesn't have in armour it has in better gun handling and slightly better mobility. So now both tanks have 175 standard pen. They both have 250 heat pen. This WZ-111, I'm not sure what that AMX was doing. Okay, yeah, anyway, random thought. This gun has 0.44 accuracy with, I think it's 0.3 aim time, which is pretty good for a Chinese heavy, well, for a 122 wielding heavy tank. It means that the gun hits more often than not. It does struggle, as you've seen there, with the penetration sometimes against some tanks, like that Patriot needs just over 200 pen to go through his upper plate. So that's why we're now switching to heat rounds, because we are going to struggle with his upper plate with AP. Even in the lower plate we still struggle because of the angling. And 250 heat on this tank, same as it is on the 112, means that you can deal with so much. Like most tier 9s you can deal with. This is why these tanks are probably better than, say, an IS-6, because the IS-6 will struggle even with a lot of tier 9s with its APCR. Whereas, like I say, the heat on these tanks just melt people. So, I prefer the WZ-111 because of the gun handling and the fairly, you know, I wouldn't say the mobility is like incredibly better than the 112, but it's nice. And this game isn't the most spectacular I'll ever have, but as you've just seen, we've got, what was that, 4 shots in a row of killing people? So we've got a top gun just from 4 shots. This game isn't the best, but it's a good kill wise. And I do make a mistake which ends up costing me anything more than I could have had. So we're going to push up on these guys in the middle. And it's possibly a mistake. I probably should have gone round up the flank to our line. And I'm thinking at this moment in time, obviously, with 6 kills, this is a possibility of a, you know, of like a Radley's or something like that. Just the way it's going. So we repair the gun. Obviously, we keep popping out sideways to this like Becky, and then of course the Becky pens us and breaks our ammo rack, which of course happens just after we've repaired the gun. Awkward, awkward, awkward. So now we're lumbered with a shocking reload. And if we hadn't got a broken ammo rack, this game could have been a Radley Walters. It could have been 8 kills quite easily. But as it is, we're going to shut down this SP1C, and we're now on 7 kills. And there's literally just the Becky Lynch and a TD left. And you can, it's agonising, because I'm sitting here thinking, like right now I would have been reloaded. I could have killed him. And then Swindle shuts him down. And if I had Mammorak, I could have been reloaded and I could have got the 8th kill. It's painful when RNG does that, but it's just the way it is, unfortunately. And we're going to see if we can use the excellent mobility. Like I say, going into town there, we're nearly doing 50Ks in a heavy tank. That's fantastic. This is one of the preferential premiums that's definitely worth a pickup, because it's very good. It can deal with a lot of situations, and it's nice. And both this and the WZ-112 have 5 degrees of gun depression, which is very, very Russian and very Chinese, to be fair. Well, in fact, I think actually, no, sorry. I think that's one thing that the WZ-112 gets. WZ-112, I keep saying the WZ-112. It's the 112 gets over the WZ-111, and that's the fact that the 112 gets 6 degrees of gun depression, which is pretty nice, you know, for a, like I say, for a 122 wielding heavy tank. And it means you can use some positions that the 111 can't. So that game ended with 3.4k damage and 7 kills, for which a lot of the kills were legit me just going, oh, a tank to shoot, dead. Oh, another tank to shoot, dead. Oh, another one, dead. And this game in the 112 is going to be a fair bit different. And it's probably going to be one that the 111 would have found a bit awkward, because there's going to be some ridgeline usage, which is where the 6 degrees of gun depression will come in handy. So what's the difference between this tank and the 111? Well, we went over the 111 not having the best armour, but it had better gun handling. Well, this tank gets 6 degrees of gun depression, like I say. It gets better armour. So it's, I think the upper plate is, I think the lower plate is actually 200 effective, which is really strong for a lower plate. And I think the upper plate is something like 220 or 230 effective. It's basically the upper plate and the lower plate. The frontal armour of this tank is a hell of a lot better than the WZ-111. It can bounce a lot more. But what it trades off is the gun handling. Instead of 0.44 and 0.3 and 3 point, well, just 3 second aim time, this tank gets 3.4 aim time and 0.46 accuracy, which means you miss a lot more shots, and it takes a lot longer to range in to get the shots. I say that just as we snap a shot in on the Scorpion and kill him. But yeah, so you range in shots a lot slower. And like I say, you miss a lot. Both tanks have good view range at 380, so you don't ever really struggle to spot people. The other thing that this tank has less than the WZ-111 is the reload. The rate of fire on this is 4.55 compared to the 4.8 I think it is on the WZ-111. And that just means you don't get to fire. I mean, it's not the biggest difference in the world, but it's enough sometimes. And like I say, I mean, like the last game was, this game isn't the most amazing, but it's just racking up kills and shows what the tank kind of can be capable of. And like I said, this is where the WZ-111 might be struggling a little more than the 112. I'd probably have to overexpose a little bit more to pop shots into these guys than I do. And we've got into a nice little flanking position where we can keep shooting these folks in the back. This little ridgeline on the right kind of keeps us covered for the most part from the other guys as we donk a shot. So it's a nice little bit of cover, and it means we can just keep popping over and shooting them. So we've got this iron rate now in the sights, and we want to pop a shot into him. He snaps one into us with that gun, which on the iron, it may be good on the ball sig, but on the iron rain it's definitely not that good. And we've loaded HE for him, but unfortunately he died. But the Pantera is low enough that we don't matter. 122mm HE is still going to do a fair amount of damage, so it didn't matter that we'd loaded HE at that point. Still shut him down. And then we come down on that little tier 6 and shut him down. And now we're on the front lines, and we're going to show a bit of the frontal armour, hopefully. The SDRV pops over, we shut him down. And this game was a bit of Fast and Furious, and there wasn't much chance to get that much damage out. We got a fair bit of spotting because of that position we took up. It meant that we could see everyone that was at the back, so my team could shoot them. So now we're rushing this Goranich, who I'm pretty confident, if he's firing standard, which he is, won't pen me. I've loaded heat because even with AP I'll struggle to pen that bloody droid. Like, it's not a proper struggle, but it's not guaranteed. And we shut him down for 7 kills. And just like the 112, I'd say it can bounce more. It's got similar mobility, worse gun handling, better gun depression. They're both trade strengths for weaknesses. And they're both pretty good tanks, but I'd always say the WZ-111 is better for me, personally. So, as always, everybody, I hope you enjoyed the video, and I'll see you in the next one.